Welcome to the Almost Reckless podcast. I'm your host, Amy Smilovic, and my guest today is Liz Taylor, the Global Chief Creative Officer of Ogilvy Advertising. So I am here with Liz Taylor, Global Chief Creative Officer
You got it.
of
Yeah.
Ogilvy Advertising, and we've known each other for 3 years at
Right.
least.
I mean, I've known about you and of you for longer, but we started engaging during the pandemic.
Okay, all right. So you were one of those
I was one of the DMers.
that I picked up in my DMs.
Yeah.
And which should be a scary place to pick people up, but honestly,
I
I
slid
mean,
into your DMs and you were okay with it.
we we have made the tightest group of friends out of this group. Um,
By the
but
way, it came from you saying I used to work in advertising.
right. And then you sent me like an Ogilvy
Yeah.
shirt, and I used to be at Ogilvy and Mather then. So I'm really excited to have you on.
I'm excited to be here.
Let's start off with, I mean, everything about you is so unorthodox. Your stories are amazing.
Thanks. I mean, just the kind of a storyteller.
You're a
So
great storyteller.
it's also my theme of like when stuff goes bad, it's like there's going to be a good story out of
Yeah,
it. It's gonna
exactly.
make a good story one day. Maybe not right now. That's always kind of been my philosophy. It'll be a good story one
Yeah.
day.
Is that going to be the title of your book?
Maybe. I don't know. It's like another chapter for the memoir used to
Yeah.
kind of be the ongoing
Yeah.
theme.
So, I mean, you're obviously like a super big shit at Ogilvy, but
It's on my business
where
card.
did you
Super
start?
big
How
shit.
did, like, what was your,
I mean, I grew up in like the John Hughes land of
yeah,
like the suburbs of Chicago. Like literally that's where in that era. Like John
straight out, it's a breakfast
straight like
club, like,
was at the like screening of it actually at like the Old Orchard Mall, like the high school like freshman. Like so I grew up in very like upper middle class,
hmm
but had a very dysfunctional childhood. I've
mm,
told you about that. I had a very abusive, crazy father that we kept hidden from everybody. It was like nobody knew really what went on in the walls. My mom was amazing
and
and
how many brothers and
one of
sisters?
each,
Okay.
but I'm like the baby by a lot.
Uh-huh.
9 years
Wow.
older and seven. So like I was the happy accident much
Yep.
year. So I was almost like an only child. Like my sister got married young and was already married her high school sweetheart. So I've known my brother-in-law since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
So like so close to him. They're 2 years apart, my brother and sister. And I was always like a creative soul. I was
hmm
like a competitive dancer. I was a waitress at a 50s diner that you sang. I
Yeah.
was a theater kid. I was a writer. I would paint. Like creativity was kind of in my soul. I really wanted to be a writer.
hmm
I just had no idea how to like do that. My parents were jewelers,
hmm
didn't go to college.
hmm
Um my brother and sister were kind of like the first examples of like they went to college. My brother was a lawyer. Like, okay, I get that's the thing you're
The
supposed
path.
to do, the path. And I thought, okay, I'll go be a lawyer because I didn't know you could get a job being a creative.
Right.
And I'll write books on the side. I'll be John Grisham, like
Yeah.
in my, like,
Because when we were growing up, that wasn't like all of a sudden the show 30 something came out. The movie Nothing in Common was my game
right.
changer and it was like set at Leo Burnett. But the idea of like you watched ads on
There was
TV, but I
Bewitched,
never
but you didn't
wonder.
really know that that was
Right.
advertising, but it was like, but there wasn't,
Exactly.
or you knew about it, but you didn't know that there was a career. Like
Right.
the career days at school in an upper middle class were like an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, like very traditional, like
Teacher, like,
teacher, or like there was just, I didn't know any creatives.
right.
I,
I didn't either.
I
I knew
didn't know
my dad
anyone.
was an artist on the
My
side,
parents
but
were
that
jewelers, which in hindsight was pretty creative in some
sure.
ways, but I didn't know, they were like salespeople from like, they just made it work.
Yeah.
Um, so I always loved ads. And so I went to college, University of Wisconsin, like I was an English major. I was like creative writing and literature, and I was going to go to law school. I loved ads. I
Mhm.
didn't know that that was like a career though. Like my dorm room, I always talk about it, was covered. Well, everyone else had like Farrah Fawcett or concerts or whatever, or like those
Yeah.
cute kittens in black and white and pink. I had ads. I had
Yeah.
Nike ads and Absolute ads. I collected them.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, that's look how they're telling a like similar like story or look at the copywriting or look at the photography." Like I had ads on my wall. And then I just didn't know that that
No, it's
was
so funny because yeah, in our house, like, when the ads came on, everyone got up and left the room for something, and that's when I was
you would
like,
lean in.
"Tune in."
And everybody knew I collected Absolute ads. So like,
Mhm.
someone would like rip one out. They always did like a special one, a collector's, but I didn't know, and I was gonna go to law school, and I had applied and got into law school, and I thought like, "Oh, like, that looks" it was LA Law, and I
Right.
was a theater kid, and so I'm like, "It's so dramatic," and I get
Ally McBeal?
and Ally
Yes, of course.
McBeal, and even so I thought it would be like, I would enjoy it, I would be in dramatic court, I could make arguments, it felt like it could be creative,
Mhm.
and I got into law school, and I was all set to go, like, I graduated, everybody thought I was going to UCLA Law School, "I'll come visit you in the fall." And my brother was an attorney, and, like, he pulled me aside and said, like, literally, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like,
Seriously.
"There's nothing creative about it. You're so creative. You write, you paint." He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "I think you think it's like LA Law." He's like, "It's really not." And I'm like, "It's not? Like,
You
it's
don't
not
have, like, affairs with
theatrics, you don't
your,
have
like
affairs." And he's like, "Nobody goes to court. You sign papers. Like, it's
yeah.
not gonna be for you." And I really loved ads, and I was from Chicago, and I was like, "I mean, that would be fun." We didn't know anyone even in advertising, and I lived in Chicago, and at the time, Leo Burnett was, like it still is major, and it was, like, this huge advertising agency, and it was before the internet, and so I just cold called Leo Burnett. Like, I didn't think that was a weird thing to do.
Well, that is such a common thread that I hear with the people on the couch is that that naivete coupled with just, like,
Chutzpah. I
chutzpah,
don't know, right? Like, I'm gonna
right?
find a way. I
Sure.
love it, or
You just,
someone's
like
gonna help me. I don't know.
you just make assumptions that people will help you and do things, and then you just do it, and then it
It
happens.
happened. So I called, someone answered the phone, and I said, "How do I get a job? How do I get a job making ads?" I didn't even know it was called copywriting, art direction, design. Like, how do I get they said, "Please hold while we connect you to the creative department." They connected me, and the person who answered the phone, which I really wish I knew who it was to this day, just said, "You need a portfolio." And I said, "I don't know what that is." And they said, "Well, we hold portfolio nights, once every quarter, and it's tomorrow. Do you want to come?" And I said, "I do." And I thought it was a job interview. I told you, so I went out and bought a suit from Ann Taylor, like thinking that's how you show up.
That was my first
And,
suit
like, I
too.
walk in with, like, this very, like, conservative Ann Taylor, probably, like,
I had
b
mine was
below
red
the
and white
knee, I'm
check.
sure. I
Yeah.
think mine was probably mauve or khaki. It had to be either mauve or khaki because 'cause I'm sure that's what my mom thought I should do,
You'll
and
do
I
the right
walked into
thing.
Leo Burnett, and it was, like, Nerf guns and music, and, like,
Yes.
it felt like I was at a concert and, like, just energy buzzing, and I was like, "Oh, I'm home,"
Yes.
but also I look ridiculous, but
Yes.
I'm home.
Yeah.
And in that portfolio review, they showed you people they'd hired. And there were all these ads for a school called Portfolio Center, which was an ad school. And I was like,
Mhm.
"What is that?" And they go, "Oh, it's a trade school to put a portfolio together." And 9 of our last 10 hires all came from there. And I'm like, "Okay, that's I'm not gonna go to law school. I think I'm gonna go to that."
Yeah.
But it was June. Like I still thought I was going to law school. And I came home, found out the school was in Atlanta, called the school. They sent me a brochure. It looked amazing and cost the same as law school. Thank God I have an amazing mom.
Yeah.
And I went, put a portfolio together. I met my husband at the school. And like, whatever, 20 years later, I was the global CCO at Leo Burnett. That was the second time I walked into that building. So it was like a very full circle, a
But
lot of luck, like that someone answered the call. Like it takes like, ooh, that's interesting. Now you have the internet, but there was no way to research it. We weren't connected to anybody. I had no family friend. Like, someone nice answered the phone, who handed it off to someone who wanted to share about the industry. Like, there's not a lot of mentoring. Like, everything moves so fast.
do you think that that's different now?
Yeah.
I mean, because I feel like I had the same thing. I walk, University of Georgia just happened to be basically a vocational school for advertising because they actually had a specific advertising degree. And then, there was the internship for Ogilvy and Mather, and then I applied, and then I got my Ann Taylor suit. I went for the
It's
interview with
so
Marty
funny.
Danaher, and I got the job. Um, but I wonder, like, on one side, things are so much easier now. If you want to know what it means to be a creative, you can just Google it. You
Right.
can, but do you think sometimes in that all that ease that's made it harder? Is it harder just because of the sheer numbers?
I think both.
Mhm.
I think it's like my husband it was an art director, and he knew he always wanted to do that. He went to art school,
Mhm.
he wanted to do commercial art, he wanted to go into advertising. Like it was
He had a plan.
fascinating. He had a plan.
Man with a plan.
Man with a plan.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that that was a thing. So nowadays I think there are a lot of people who are lost, so they don't know what they want.
Yep.
But every now and then I'll get like, it's not a humble brag, but I'm friends with Keenan Thompson, and I got to go to SNL
Yep.
and sit in the green room, and there was like another young woman who was there, and he had said, "Oh, you're gonna hang out with Liz Taylor," and like she was so excited. She brought me a printed resume. She said, "My dad told me like you have a moment, you have to tell her." And I followed up and made sure I connected her to the people who deal with our internships. But like I liked that she was like it was a Saturday
Took
night.
the
She
moment.
took the moment,
Well,
and it wasn't rude, and she wasn't
no,
trying, but she was, like, hungry and
but
had an in for 1 minute. I really loved it. It doesn't happen a lot anymore.
well, I'm wondering, because this has been brought up so many times, is, whether the word is like a sense of shamelessness or they just didn't, if you go, I just think sometimes like going out with my British friends in Hong Kong at this formal dinner, I didn't know to be ashamed at the way that I was eating because I didn't
You didn't
know
know there
the
was a different yeah.
rules. And how appalled they were that I didn't even know the rules, right? Like, so you're breaking rules that you don't even know exist, and you're not feeling bad about yourself because you didn't even know that you were
But now they
supposed to
do.
feel bad.
Right.
And it is like now they do because I find it so surprising the number of incredible interns that we've had come through our door who haven't asked me for even a letter of
Anything.
recommendation when they leave. I'm like, don't you want
They're
something?
nervous because that's
Yeah.
my daughter.
And
Like,
they're
she's like
overthinking it. What will they say? And I'm like, just come in.
they don't know how to network either. It's like,
No.
I don't know.
Although
It's
actually we have an intern here who, by the way, like the first day in the kitchen, you were like, I am here. I'm from Germany. That was great. Amazing. But it's rare. And
it is interesting. There's more of a nervousness. I don't know. I definitely notice it. There's not a lot of people who I don't know.
maybe because you can Google and everything is what is the protocol to
And they'll think
approach
they'll
the
do it
creative
wrong. I
director
don't know.
and then the
It's
embarrassment of
fascinating.
getting it wrong. Because now when you get things wrong, some little shit's gonna write about it in your like
Oh,
comment
totally.
section or what.
It's like,
Like
yeah,
the downside, like with us, we're like, what's the worst that could happen?
right. There was no social media. There was no like, even in advertising, there's like these anonymous places that people go to like crap on people. Like it's
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yes.
Um, it is fascinating. I also don't think schools and places do enough to teach about how to network,
Mhm.
how to
How to find your
how to
path.
find your path, how to ask like I think I don't know, I always say like when you have a kid, you leave the hospital, there was no class. They just
Yeah.
go, good luck with that.
Yep.
It's harder to get a driver's license than to have a kid. And I think these schools that we send our kids to, I learned way more at my trade school
Yep.
because they would like literally like they would make you do a presentation on how you like on
Yes.
your ideas, what
Yep.
didn't work about it. Your final was telling the story.
Yep.
You had to present, you had to have fake clients in the room. They would actually come and do. So there was 2 years of work experience to some extent. Now I don't think that's the case as much.
Well, I think that's where, we've talked about this before, you and I, but I think people tend to bifurcate their experiences a lot too, because I mean, like when you're nothing is more humbling than being a waitress, right?
Yeah.
And I bag groceries, but like you have to introduce yourself at the table, you have to talk about what the things are tonight, you have to
Bill.
problem solve, and just that ability to engage and look people in the eye it's an experience builder. And I think that, you know, nowadays, of course, it's going to be harder because industries have kind of imploded, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no real, like, probably when we graduated, we were able to like tick off like 8
Right.
industries.
Totally.
Right now, like, what is an industry? There
It's fascinating.
guardrails aren't there really. So you got to really dig deep to figure out what your interests are and where
I
you
think you're
should
also
apply
asked
them.
to do way more with less time, like the pace because of tools that are available that weren't like, you'll love this. We have a client right now pitch that you're not allowed to use AI, which is, I love. Like it literally, we all had to sign something that no AI will be used at all in the entire process.
I love
No
it.
research, no writing, no comps, no nothing. We all had to sign. But there's a generation of people who that's so it's really like everyone's like, "Well," and then I feel like the old lady, like, "Back in our day, we had to do comp,"
Your
like,
pencil.
but
Yeah.
it's really I love it because
Yeah.
it's making you use a different part of your brain. It's making you really sit and think things through. I still love the tool that AI can give,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's just not a lot of time to mentor. There's not a lot of time to think a path through. It's too easy, even for me, like the amount of times you'll pick up a phone to get the answer versus using your brain to go, wait, who's the actress that was in that scene
Yeah.
that did that? So I have a lot of empathy. I just like when people helped me
Mm-hmm.
throughout my career, whether my brother was telling me honest, I had amazing, bosses, I had terrible bosses that didn't. And so I love my industry, so I wanna make sure it's a thriving industry, which in order to have that, I have to help. It's just a thing that I believe. It's like I wanna hire people from weird backgrounds, somebody
Yeah.
who had a sneaker, company of their own. It's like, I don't think you need a perfect portfolio. There's a lot of perfection
Mm-hmm.
right now because I think of the tools that weren't available to us,
Yeah.
but it is fascinating.
So I'm curious, like this notion of helping the next generation. I mean, it was amazing. Like it was a Chicago guy, but I was on a flight recently from Chicago to Jackson Hole, connected through
Yep.
Chicago to Jackson Hole. Guy next to me on the plane started talking to him, and he says he has, it was a wild number. It was like 8 or 13 kids or something. And he said they're
Big
between the
difference,
age
but
of
it's
like
still a lot.
5 and 33.
Oh my god.
And I was like, how is that even physically possible? Like, and he said, they're all adopted. And I said, who are you?
Right.
Like,
What's your story?
what's your story? Because like that's incredible to give back at that level. And he said, because I was adopted, he said I was a foster child growing up. And I just swore that if I made it one day,
I was gonna
that
give
this
it
is what I
back,
was
yeah.
going to do. And I was like, wow, it really takes that.
Yeah,
It really takes that. I mean, it's just
crazy.
beautiful. This guy, like, incredible. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
I mean, we're having trouble with our dogs.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
like
it's
a lot to manage. It is.
so when you started out, I mean, clearly you really moved up the ladder. What what are the things that you think, like, what were the attributes that put you higher up on that rung than others?
Um, one is a quote that like, it's a Steve Martin quote, "Be so good they can't ignore you."
Mhm.
So I have, like, a kill 'em with creativity and kill 'em with kindness. Like, that is my, like, and a watch me, like, "Oh, you don't think I'm good? Watch me."
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in an era with very few women creatives.
Yes.
Like, there was only one in my class besides me. There was only 2% of female creative directors. Women would like, "Oh, you do the tampons, and
Yeah,
men
right.
will do the beer."
Yeah.
And so sometimes I had to like fight my way. Like we worked on a sports drink one time at the agency and I couldn't get on it. I literally was doing the mom stuff. And I was like, "I'm a sports fanatic. I promise you I know more about sports. Just get me on it."
Yeah.
And so I think one of the attributes was like a resilience probably comes from having an abusive, crazy dad that I'm like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna survive it. And I'm gonna do it through the work because
Mhm.
I'm not gonna, I could bitch and whine over here, but I'm
Mhm.
just gonna make you try to. So there was like that sensibility of like, I'm gonna keep coming, I'm gonna come up with more ideas
Yeah.
until, you buy one of them. I had great bosses and mentors along the way. Like I do think like curiosity and resilience are very big in our industry. Like the amount of times you get no, the amount of times a boss will kill your idea. If you focus on the idea that died,
Mhm.
like you're gonna so I like need to come back with another. And I had like a
Mhm.
boss who like one time we were like in revision 25 and I was like, I give up. Just give them what they want.
Right.
I'm done. And he's like, the world doesn't know what revision you're on. The world's only gonna see that one. The one that gets in the world. And I was like, oh my God, you're
That
right.
makes
That
sense,
makes
damn it.
sense. So
Yep.
like I learned like, okay, like don't get caught up in the revisions. Like just keep trying to come back. Craft, like I
Mhm.
think, I'm a writer, so I would try to craft the perfect line. My first partner in the business was German. I was like the American Seinfeld humor girl, like sarcastic but human truths, and he was like this like German, like everything must be artsy, like
Yep.
open up on a secluded island. And I'm like, and then the guy says, like they
That's what she
but
said.
again, when you talk about like tension and things, it was a very interesting pairing. We didn't know each other. They put us together. It did not go well, like in the first few months, because I'd be like, and then the two guys
Yeah.
are saying this over the bag of chips. And
Right.
he's like, no, the chips are like it was like so opposite. And then we had to find our way.
Yeah.
And I became a much better visual storyteller.
Mhm.
And he like we had to come up with global ideas to some extent. Like it wasn't as script oriented. Like I realized you could tell a story. It didn't have to have a script. I was very American, but I
Yeah.
worked at that was J. Walter Thompson, which was a big global company working on big global brands at that time. I was so American. And I think that that shaped a lot of how I work. I think, it's why I succeeded in global. Like I never saw someone else's point of view and he
Yeah.
had to see mine. And
Yep.
I was like the sarcastic, funny American, and he was like the artsy, like German art school. Like literally, he was a model on the side. Like it was just, we couldn't have been more opposite, but he showed me different music. I showed him different episodes. Like
Mhm.
that was that tension was so magical. Like we were a really great team and I
Yep.
would have never put us together. That shaped things. Like the best work in creative and advertising isn't when you need an enemy.
Yeah.
You need some tension. Like what are we fighting against? If everything's perfect, it's like it's not really an interesting story or an interesting piece of communication. And don't always put the two people together that are expected. Like we just did this session where we bring teams from around the world and like for a week and you just work on a project and
Yep.
different backgrounds. So like we had a team from China, we had a team from UK, and like day 2 I mix up all the partners and they panic. But the work is so good. And then they learn how
Yes.
to work with someone else and then they get back. And so I think that tension is key, the resilience. I think finding people who, do the best work of your life, do it together. Do the right thing. So it's like
Mhm.
that's like our Ogilvy thing that I did, but like I don't like assholes.
Mhm.
You encounter them all the time.
Yep.
You can still get your point of view, but I really don't have time for them.
How do
I
you
don't like
how do you deal I mean, because there's in your world, right?
there's a
Like
yeah.
there's a client that's an asshole, or there might be a colleague or
The colleagues
right.
now that I'm in a leadership role is easier to not have
Yeah.
to deal with as many like we don't hire a lot and
Yeah.
we have teams that um again, I think growing up with an asshole of a father teaches you like there's no real major drama at work that compared to the drama I had in my life. So I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, you think this is a lot?
Yeah, you
Like you
had
have
just
no idea.
perspective with
I had
you
to
all
leave
the
in the middle of
time.
the night,
Yeah.
like it's perspective. It's all perspective. What is the issue? Like
Mhm.
someone might be dealing with something different. If somebody's just an asshole, like it's hard, it's rare.
Yep.
It's rare. So sometimes I just try to I have a client right now who said that like we did toast, we had a dinner and he was like toasting everybody's superpower.
Mhm.
And he goes, Liz's superpower is I did not like her at first, and I was kind of a jerk, and she was determined to win me over. I was like determined. I'm like, I'm gonna make him like me.
Yep.
Like, you got to find the good. Everyone has the good,
Yeah.
and everyone had like you got to find it and do it. And I mean,
But you definitely, I think what, you must hate this so much in the world right now, but like you are using everything as fuel,
yeah,
because a lot of people, we know that when we hire people, for instance, the sure thing is someone who comes in if they love their parents. Like we find that those people tend to have just they come in the door with like a general respect for their
right,
colleagues
yeah,
and right like
right, good
because it's
people,
hard like if
right,
people hate their parents, if they hate their siblings, it's hard, they're never going to really like you, right?
right.
So like what's your shot as a boss or a colleague? But you took that negativity and really let it push you forward. Like it.
I think a lot of it was my mom. Like,
Mhm.
she was my hero, but my mom exuded so much love unconditionally, was so fun and so amazing, and wanted to overcompensate for that with
Yep.
this, that sometimes I forgot that my childhood wasn't normal,
Mhm.
because me, my brother, my sister, and her, when he would go away or whatever, it was like we would be blasting music and dancing and singing and fun. So I think I had, it was a little bifurcated. Like, I
Yep.
had this like amazing role model of a mom who, like, front row center at every play I was in. Everyone, like, all my yearbooks are like, your mom's the best. Like, she was everybody's favorite. And we hid my dad pretty well.
Mhm.
So I think that I used the tools of, like, I saw the light even with the dark.
Yep.
And I just want the light, and somehow I figured out how to, like, I don't know, game a system. Like, I gamed that system. Like, I don't know. We're lucky. I think it was definitely my mom, but I learned a lot too. Like, I see toxic behavior. So I know when somebody is like a gaslighter or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, and I know, and I'm a poker player. That's like my
Oh, really?
massive poker player. That's like a fun side thing. Like, if I wasn't doing this, I'd try to be a professional
Okay,
poker
we're
player,
gonna
right?
do this.
So that'll be fun. But the
Yes.
poker player is like, that's how you play life too.
Mhm.
It's like, I look at everybody. You can be, it's like maybe how some people would play chess. Like, I can go, okay, I know what you're all about. Like,
Yep.
and you get mad when things don't go your way. So I know that that's what triggers you. Or I know that, like, you get super chatty when things are good. Like, it's interesting to see
Those different
those different
behaviors.
behaviors. And I think because with my dad, we knew what would cause
Mhm.
a spark or a thing, and we would try to diffuse.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating.
Well, you've got kind of that mix because I always, when I talk about my husband and I running Tibby together, I'm like, he grew up in a communist country. He doesn't trust anyone.
Right?
He
Crazy.
like, right. And I grew up like in the South, my mom and dad, like, my parents, like,
Like, full of love. And
right.
yeah.
And so together we kind of make the perfect whole. It's the right amount of like skepticism and optimism. And, but you had both of that
I had that growing up and with my
together.
husband.
Yep.
Grew up on food stamps,
Hmm.
small town. Dad left in the middle of the night one day, but like his mom went and never worked, went to become a dishwasher, support three boys.
Mm.
Like, he lives for his mom,
Mhm.
but he grew up like Huckleberry Finn, like in Seattle, like rope swings,
Yep.
and like I grew up like just so different. So
So very I mean,
we have survival, we
yep,
have, like, he's a little bit more shy, I'm the crazy one, like, we're very much like the odd couple in the best way,
yep.
but we have, like, same values, we, like, you know, we have fun together.
But that's what it's about, right, though? I mean, like, all of those differences when that value thread is there,
It really is.
it's I mean, because my husband and I mean, years apart, countries apart, etcetera, but the line of the
Yeah.
principles is just rock
I always say, like,
solid.
I am where I am today because of my husband.
Mhm.
He is supportive, he is not competitive, he's so proud of me. He took time to help the kids when I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to do this job if
No, it
I
takes a
was
village.
it takes a village. Like, I have a lot of friends whose, like, husbands would not do what my husband does all the laundry. Like he like does more than his fair share to enable me to do this job.
I
Yeah. So
My husband, 1,190%.
yeah. Also, everybody in my family would choose him over me. Like so that I know like he's everybody's favorite. Mine too. Like
So what's the first biggest memory you have in advertising of like having a real win?
it one of I have a couple. One was probably the first commercial I ever sold and shot and was on TV. Like that's like and it was for like there was two. One was like they were within like a month of each other, and one was for Clairol, which is funny. And it was like with Linda Evangelista, and it was
Wow.
like, all this like the hair and the makeup, and like I'm a 24-year-old kid. I'm like, you've got like Ms. Rahi got like I was like, oh, this is like I am living that life. Like it was amazing. And then the other one was for Trident Gum, but it took us to the Maldives.
Mm-hmm.
So my
Wow.
first shoot was with Tomas,
That's
the German
genius of who.
model. Well, this is like our funny story. We could not agree on like, I kept on doing funny scripts that like took place in a house, and he kept on going like doing these crazy things. And he's like, let's write a script that's like open in the middle of the ocean because we'll go like that was, and he's like, we're like, okay, so what could be an idea that you need to be in the middle of the ocean? And we came up with a spot and we sold it. And the director's like, well, it's the middle of the ocean, so we have to be in the Maldives. I didn't even know where the Maldives were.
Right.
Like I had like really only gone to London. And
Right.
so my first big shoot, I had 2 weeks in London and 2 weeks in the Maldives. We knew we were like peaking. We're like,
Yeah.
this might be the best shoot of our life. We got picked up by a speedboat every day and taken out to a boat where we would snorkel at lunch. We were all like 25 years old. Like it was
Matt and Gabe.
no shoot has ever happened like that again. So those were a moment where you're like, and it was for gum.
Yeah.
Like for Trident Gum.
I know. I mean, like,
like,
it's brilliant to me that you sold a client on the fact that gum needed to be
it was
shot.
Jaws. It was like a Jaws take. It was for strong teeth, and she bites the shark instead of the shark biting her. Like it was like it's so cheesy and like silly now, but
I love
that was the like it was dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
But then there was a tussle, and then the thing goes away and has a big bite mouth out of it, and it was like stronger teeth. That was the idea. I still remember it, but it was like that was the oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. It was like 10, even the clients were in their 20s. Like it was so much fun. We made something. Like I got to experience like a shoot. I didn't, where you're like filming in water and then you're having fun and then there's an edit and you're sitting in the edit room. Like there was no, you don't study that. I mean, you could, but I didn't. So that was one like, this is fun. I love what I do. That was a big I made it moment of like, I made the right career choice.
The right career choice.
Yes.
Because I wonder nowadays, I'm starting to sound so old, but I remember like, to me, it was so much fun to do, even just to do a radio ad,
Yeah.
right? Because you'd be in.
Still are. They're
And
just
we
called audio and podcast coming soon.
But you'd be in there, and then you would also have like hired the voice who would
Yeah.
have like this amazing voice. And then I remember at like a new business pitch, and it would be 3 a.m, and you're at
That
the
was last
copier.
night.
Oh my God. But you're at the copier and like you're eating really cold pizza.
Literally
And
last night, just not a copier anymore. But,
anymore.
Yeah, but everything else is still the same.
It's the same, but you're still thriving on it. And I just wonder, like for me, I don't know how I would have felt at that copier at 3 a.m. if I was constantly reading on my Instagram, you're being taken advantage of, da da da, like stand up for not making copies at 3 a.m. Like you kind of just did it. Like you trashed your boss a little bit, like, oh my God, but like you did it and you were all in it together. And then the product came out and you were like happy. And then like after you just remembered the good things, like.
It still is that case. Like, we have a Super Bowl commercial. Sometimes we have many, but most of the team on it, it's their first one.
So
like
that's
so special for me, for them.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, what are you like? One of the young female creatives on it told me the story because I was like, how is your family excited for you? It
Right.
was on the Today Show last week. I'm like, this is major. Like some people go their whole career and never have that moment. And I
Sure.
said, how exciting? She's like, I missed a major family wedding. My mom was the one who said, "You could go to Uruguay for 2 weeks to shoot a Super Bowl commercial. Like, you might never get that chance again." And so I love that her mom, because I didn't know that story, we would have
Yeah.
said, like, "It's okay, we have someone else." And so she went, and there's, like, 6 people on it, and it's their first one, and it's like, that's so major for
Yeah.
them. So there's still, we had a pitch, and last night I was with all the teams, so we had cold pizza, and we were telling stupid jokes, and sometimes it's really hard, but I know how important those fun moments are.
Yeah.
And so it's still that part of the business hasn't changed. I think
Mhm.
that's like the rewarding part. Another fun career moment, by the way, was Cannes Lion is like one of the big awards. It's like one of the like an Oscars of advertising, which is so stupid, but they are big. And I wore Tibby to my first Cannes Lion. It was before I knew you.
Amazing.
So I still have that picture. It was like the white, I still remember it was a white sleeveless short, and the back had like your classic like strap and a big full white skirt, and had
Mhm.
hot pink shoes with
Nice.
it. And that was like a fun, so there's like
Nice.
there's a lot of
Yeah,
moments. There's like
major.
the first time I became a CCO,
Mhm.
like, aren't a lot of women. At some point, I'm like, I think I'll always be an ECD. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm going to move from Chicago and there's only so many agencies. And then someone believes in you, you get a call one day, So there's like a lot of milestones. I love what I do, even on its hardest day, which is really hard right now with the industry. Like, it's being disrupted, it's crazy. It's like holding companies and AI and everything's blowing up. And it's not like the most settling,
Mhm.
it's like disruption like I've never experienced.
Mhm.
But I still love what I do, which I
Yeah.
feel like that's probably the thing I feel luckiest about. I love it. It's really fun.
So when things are getting so disrupted, like what concerns you the most about it? That like the agency idea is at risk or
Yeah, a little bit. Like it's the agency models are being
Mhm.
disrupted right now. Like there's the indies,
Mhm.
and then there's holding companies,
Yeah.
and there's media, like there's media and AI, and it's just like it's all of it. And so my job, I can only control what I can control.
Yeah.
And so I try to focus on like, I know that I can solve a client's business problem through creativity.
Mhm.
I'm pretty good at that. I know how to do that. And if I stop worrying about the Game of Thrones and all that stuff, if I focus on that and focus on people, like
Yeah.
making sure my people are taken care of and my clients have what they need as much as I can, that's all I can control.
Mhm.
And because there's a lot of noise, and like I'm not at the holding, like I don't really want that. Like I'm part
Yeah.
of a holding company,
Yeah.
but some like in the last 6 months, four of the biggest brands went away. And they were like DDB's gone, and BB, like all these like J. Walter places I worked at don't exist anymore. J. Walter, they get sucked into another one.
Yeah.
So DDB went away, FCB, places I've like literally
Wow.
my
Norfolk
current
Building.
job right
Wow.
now is the only, like if you went on LinkedIn, they've all gone away. We were talking about that yesterday. I'm like, Ogilvy's the only one where I've worked that
Mhm.
still exists, which is a weird thing. So I met David Ogilvy's widow, like, and she whispered that like David would be proud of you. And like I feel a very big
Wow.
responsibility as much as I can to keep that legacy alive. Like
Yeah.
I think he was amazing. Um, some of it's out of my control, but if I focus on what I can control,
Yeah.
but I want to keep Ogilvy alive and thriving as a place that people want to work at, and a place that clients entrust to solving their, I mean, everyone needs creativity. It's
Well,
like creativity, it's not just creative in an ad. Like you need to solve problems using creativity.
yeah, I always like in hindsight realize that like David Ogilvy was the ultimate creative pragmatist,
Yeah.
and that I think I quote him so much and I've given his Ogilvy on advertising to a lot of our employees because as much as you can get enamored with so much, David's big thing was like you were selling to a human
Right. We sell her
at
out
the end of the day.
to your
Yep.
wife,
If
which
the
is like a
product
little
doesn't,
offensive now,
yeah,
but it's like, yeah,
yeah, but it's but your job is to sell.
yeah. I don't make art. I know that. I'm not, I mean, I love art and artists, but like I make things to sell. Like I need to drive my client's business. So
We had this art director. I loved him so much, but like he would bring me these ads and I would be like, Byron, why is the font this tiny? And he's like, Amy, please, the blank space. And I'm like, oh
I
my
once had a team that's like, we're not gonna ever mention the ever. I'm like, ever? Like, you mean is a teaser and then we're going to? He's like, ever. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna sell. You know, like there's
yeah, like so it's so pragmatic and somehow
I like
you have
selling.
to
That's
think
what
that
you have
like as long as humans are
they're
around.
gonna need it. They're gonna I think I mean, you can't you I don't think you can teach taste, which is
Mhm.
interesting. I think the world needs tastemakers now more than ever.
Mhm.
You can't teach taste.
Mhm.
You can teach craft maybe, but like so if you know how to solve a problem creatively,
Yeah.
if you have taste and you know how to make things and you know how to mentor people, like I feel like we'll be okay, but it's a little bit of like I am the eternal I have to be optimistic. I grew up in a terrible childhood that I'm like I believed it was going to make a good story one day and I'd write a memoir and it would be amazing.
Which
That's
you
like
should, by the way,
but that's like the
with,
glass
in
half
the
full.
story.
Like
Yeah.
I that's how I live life. If it's like everything's awful and it's falling apart, I can't do good work either. So I focus on what I can focus on. Like even in the drama of like Game of Thrones in a big company where
Mhm.
everybody some people just want the title and the like I want the work and the work environment and the like I try my best to focus on the things I can control. But it is hard right now, even in the world right now.
Well, everything that you've mentioned, though, that you're working towards, they're not related to a title, a salary, a location, right? Like you've said over and over, like you want to do inspiring things, you want to be around good people. And I think that when you really memorialize those key things that you're looking for, that is when you can really put your head down and then into it the next steps, right?
Right.
Because the minute that it's not good people and the minute that you don't feel proud of what you're
Or that you
doing,
focus too much on like yourself and your title.
right, you know
It's
that
the
you're going
reality.
to naturally veer off
Right.
to another place and kind of probably just like how you got your job and everything, it like the future
Yeah.
does materialize, whether or not it's what you want is more about how much you knew what you wanted to begin
Totally. It
with.
goes back to like my husband. Like we also like I don't know. It's not that we have no shame. Like if everything fell apart tomorrow, I would have no issue going back to be a waitress. Like, I really wouldn't. Like, I will always find a way to make like, I don't think I'm above any like, I don't mean
No.
that, like, look at me, I'm not, but I don't. Like, I'll still last night working on scripts, like, like tweaking headline, like, I will not I'm not too good. Like, I don't know. I like being in
No,
it.
I
I'm
think
not like this leader that's like you. I
well,
don't
I
think
think
those
that's
are
such a good
successful careers. Like, if you think you go up a chain and then you're not close to the work or you don't do anything. I really like I got laid off in my career. It was
Mhm.
like a really horrible feeling, and I thought it was the same as getting fired, and I talk about it often
Uh-huh.
because a lot of people are getting laid off, and I didn't expect it, and I didn't see it coming, and my husband was freelance, and we got nervous. We were
Yeah.
like, "How are we gonna pay our mortgage?" We had 2 kids, and I was like, "Well, I know I could always go back to waitressing," and he's like, "I'll wash dishes." He was a
Yeah.
dishwasher. We didn't need to do that, but I think there is a part of probably how I grew up, like, we were survivors, like, you just kinda do it.
Yeah, I think that survivor mentality, because it's funny because again, my parents, that I grew up in this incredibly like loving household, but it was also like parents who just picked up and moved to an island with nothing. And they had us at age 21, right?
An amazing
And
island.
I owe an amazing island. And I always thought, I always told Frank, I'm like, well, the worst that could happen is we pick up and we move into a small house and we still have each other and
Right, that's
we waitress and we do whatever,
we say the
right?
same thing.
Now, for Frank, though, he's been able to counter that a few times where he's like, no, the worst that can happen is, your mom's in Auschwitz, you
Mm.
escape, you go through Vienna, you hide out. Like his worst case
It's worse, right?
scenarios
Yeah, it's
are pretty,
pretty bad,
pretty bad,
right?
right? Pretty bad. Um, but you've had some really bad
Yeah,
scenarios, but you really are like,
we
you've
survived it. I
seen the
mean, I've
good.
talked about it. Like my dad was like violently abusive to my mom and my brother. There was a loaded gun in the house. Like we always like the fact that we survived. You see the things on the news where it's like kills the whole family and then himself. That was our fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like always growing up, like he was either the life of the party or he was gonna like kill us all.
Yep.
And so, we left in the middle of the night one time and then we came back. Like the police was called often to our house. Like I thought he was gonna kill my mom. Like even as an adult while he was still alive. Like I thought my siblings stopped talking to him and I did, but I like didn't really have a massive relationship, but he'd just show up on my door and I was like, like I really thought, I
What's
mean,
he
you
gonna
see the crazy things and I'm like, well, I lived with that. Like it was um like the crazy voicemails that you would get, like scary, like either he was gonna kill himself or kill all of us.
do? Mm-hmm.
Just awful. Sometimes I forget about it. I mean, I have crazy stories. Like we left in the middle of the night. It was my first week of high school. My mom drove me to school and he showed up at the school in the morning in a car and I knew the gun was in the car. And so my mom's like running to school and I'm thinking he's going to shoot me on the way in. Like he never did. But I'm not quite sure why. Like, so we had that. There was like, he would travel. He was a jeweler and he would do trade shows. So he would travel a lot. And like, those were like the peaceful moments. The
Mm-hmm.
garage door would go up and we would like all run into action.
Wow.
Like, my mom would sit up. I'd run to my bedroom. Like, it was a traumatizing, it wasn't every day, but it was so awful. And he was not as awful to me. He was definitely to my mom and my brother. Like, literally, he would like, you know, hit my mom in front of us. I'd call the police. The police would show up and they'd be like, no, everything's fine. Is everything fine? So it was just growing up with that was so hard. And then we could never leave. I think my mom thought if we left, he'd kill us. He'd find us and kill us. And so her rationale was he's going to have to find someone else. He's going to have an affair and leave. Like, it's the only way he'll leave us. And he
Wow.
did.
Wow.
And she was a year older than me when I was in high school. So, same high school. Guys, I have a good book.
I'm
I
reading
was a
this book.
junior in high school. She was a senior. She
Holy
worked at his
shit.
store. Her name, I won't say her name. Well,
Yeah.
I could say her name was Mindy. And like my mom and my brother-in-law and sister and brother would go, everyone knows it's Mindy. Because everybody was so excited.
Happy.
Because
You're
they're all
happy.
happy. But I'm like, guys,
This
she
is
goes to my
school.
high school.
Yes.
Her parents were president of our temple. Like this was like,
And the whole time we
we
were
all knew
thinking
they
this
were
will be
having an
content one
affair because
day.
she worked for him, but like nobody was like,
Oh,
it was like insane. Brought her to our house for Yom Kippur, like break the fast. Like it was like it's a great like to tell the stories are crazy, but it was like, wait, this could be the savior. And it was. Like he left my mom for her. I mean, he threatened to go to my prom. He's like, should I go?
no.
Like, I mean, there like I can find the humor in it because now it's like so it went from like all
Oh,
crazy abusive to like, oh my God, my dad is gonna show up at my prom
as a
with
date.
as a date. Like, what is happening? And the 1 year that he was having an affair before he left my no, he was having an affair and then he left. My mom, because they were together since she was in high school, and like my mom became a wild teenager for 1 year. She always says, I was a great mom, except for 1 year, but it was the most fun year of my life. So my mom goes wild, starts smoking pot in the house,
Ah,
starts dating a deadhead. My friends are like, I saw your mom at the dead. I'm like, what is
no.
my siblings are out of the house. I'm like, my dad is dating someone a year older than me. My
Liz.
mom is dating a deadhead and smoking pot. Like, what is happening? So it was, but in the midst of it, I'm like, this is gonna be a good
This would be a good
series.
story.
This is gonna be a good like series or
Yes.
movie or book. I don't know how the creative in me was like taking it all in. Is like, I gotta remember what they're wearing and the song that was playing, and I remember the break the fast. Like, yeah, so it's crazy. They did end up getting married. I was a bridesmaid in the wedding. I mean, like, she showed up. I go to college. She's showing up for Parents Weekend. People think it's my sister. Guys, there's so many stories,
Holy shit.
but they make for a good story
They
now.
make for a good story.
The abusive part doesn't really make for a good story, except like there are, like, when he showed up that day, we left in the middle of the night. It's freshman year, and my mom's like, run in. And I run in, and my sister was with my mom, and they had a screaming match. And I was like scared, and I went back out to make sure that my
Mhm.
mom and sister were alive. Like, I got worried he was gonna shoot them. Like, I ran to the nurse to, like, "Somebody needs to call the police." And then I went back out, and it's, like, glass windows, so you can't hear it, but I see them screaming at each other, fighting, and all of a sudden, I shit you not, the marching band. Da na 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 na, da na na
And this
na
is
na
like
na.
the
It's like
music to that.
walking, it's the music. Like,
That's
it's you
such a good
can't
movie
write that.
scene.
That's a
No,
scene,
it's a
like,
movie scene.
but it was live, it was my life.
Yes.
And while, like, there's, like, John Hughes' 16 Candles that I think should be my life,
Right.
like, where's the cute boy who's showing up?
Right.
Like, it's, so
Okay.
crazy, like,
Wow.
larger than life that, like, when I write it and somebody reads it, they're like, I mean, that didn't happen, but it did.
But it did.
My dad had a van that had a naked woman painted on it that played La Cucaracha, the horn. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, like, if you like, this
If
is
you watch
all
the
of this
show, you're like,
made like, right, it's a little bit like, all of this made me who I am. It was, like, the crazy things, like,
well, it must have also allowed you to really switch off and switch on because, like, you know, just to just this vision of you like leaving your car for your first day of school with like chaos, but then like you're getting into a classroom and clearly focusing and being a good
and being in
student.
there, yeah, like, it was, and when he'd go away, we were the hangout house,
Yeah.
and, like, my mom would have everybody over, and we'd have
Yeah.
pool parties, and it was so fun. Back to the cat, like, it was very much this, like, either
Does that allow you to hyper
celebrate.
focus at work? Like, are you
I
a
mean,
person
maybe
who
because
can?
I can, like, maybe that's what did it, I have no idea,
Because I can complete, I mean, in an odd way, like, it's terrible sometimes because something really, really bad will happen. And then I'm like, I have to set this aside and I'm going to focus on this for like 3 hours. And someone will come up to me and they're like, how can you do this when like this just happened? I'm like, okay, now you've just reminded me and I'm back in that space again, but I can be out of it and then come back
yeah.
to it
Totally.
and not,
I can turn it off and be
yeah,
in that. Like, even now, like, if there's like stuff at home, I can focus at work and then
yeah,
go, like, I can turn something off to turn it on.
yeah,
Probably from that.
yeah.
But I don't know. But anyways, it's
Wow.
crazy, funny, not haha, but it was like so many. I'm only giving you the little breadcrumbs of like the craziness. But that definitely shaped.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think it made me funny. Not that
mhm,
I'm so funny, but I found like like I could tell stories. I like I don't know. I think that I always said like the dysfunction did make me funny. Like it
mhm.
made it. I think a lot of comedians had like hard
Yeah.
lives, and not that I'm a comedian. Um,
I just wonder, I mean, way beyond advertising or movies or anything, like the ability to just kind of laugh at things and story tell. I would imagine even in a law firm or something, like it's a very good skill set to have. I think a lot of people sometimes focus on some of the core skill sets
yeah,
required for jobs, but then there are all of these ancillary things that kind of are the like the odd things that push someone over the edge to become the best at their
totally.
job or
I think, I mean, storytelling, it's like no matter what job you like, I was a big improv taker
mhm.
as a kid. I made my kids take improv classes.
Oh,
That's a
love
skill
that.
that I really think like, and then for a while I had employees take training at Second City because
Yep,
you have to be a storyteller and collaborative.
yep,
You're not a stand-up comic alone. I've got to like respond quickly and build on what you're doing. And so I
yep.
think that's a skill set that like we've done it with clients. Like
Mhm.
I think your group, like any group of people, like I think improv makes everybody better. It's a
Yep.
yes and mentality versus no but. Like
Yeah.
We will do an activity where, like, if I say, Amy, start talking about planning a party, and you're the no butter, and you're the yes and you're the yes but. The yes
Mm-hmm.
and is you just keep going.
Yeah.
Like, you need tension, but if I keep saying no to everything, it's not gonna get anywhere. And so improv, I think, is a big skill. I think storytelling, is a big skill because everyone has to sell something,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's selling themselves in a meeting, whether it's selling their point of view in a law firm, whether it's selling your vision to somebody. Like,
So,
you're a storyteller. Like,
so question. I mean, one of the things that that I talk a lot about is like when you feel very content in who you are and understanding who you are, I think that ease can't help but come out and that ability to story tell. But you talked like your visuals matter too,
yeah,
right? Like,
mhm,
especially, I mean, you're a visual
yeah,
storyteller at the same time. Like, do you think about that just even when you're getting dressed and as a boss
yeah, always.
and
I
with your
think,
clients?
yeah,
Like,
I think about the vision we put out. I think about how I dress. Like, it's
mhm,
all of it. Like, as a
connected.
creative, it's all connected. I think it's all part of the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's when you read a book, you can't help but picture it. You
Yeah.
put characters into your mind, they've described it. When you're watching a movie, you can't help but listen to the music,
Yeah.
see the wardrobe. And so I think all of that just helps give a little bit of texture. There's a fun story that we had a new business pitch. I love pitching. It's like blue sky and you
Yeah.
try to win it. It's competitive. It's like all the things I love most. You're stupid enough to like think you can
Try
do it, to
anything.
try more
Yes.
things. And we had a 6-hour presentation. It was a crazy because it was for everything. It was for creative, it was for media, it was for so I was an hour and a half of the 6 hours, me and other people. And I put so much thought into what I wore that day because I wanted the work to shine.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want my wardrobe
To be the focal
to
point.
be the focal point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't I want but I still wanted to come
But it
across
needed to be
creative.
there.
And so I went with a nun
Mm-hmm.
and two people noticed.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I
Oh
wore
my
all
God,
one
I'm like, I'm
color. It's
picturing a
your
nun.
none.
Like was she wearing
No,
like a
I went
habit?
here, I'm using your language. I went with one
Any.
I went
Yeah.
monochromatic.
Yes. Yeah.
And a creative came up to me and they're like, "Did you plan that?" And I go, "I did, because I wanted the focus.
Yeah.
I wanted to I still felt my creative
Sure.
soul, but I didn't want to be a ton
Yeah.
because then they're going to focus on me
Yeah.
more than the work." So that's even the storytelling. I like,
Hmm.
so it's
It's all
just a
part of
little,
it.
yeah, it's all part of it.
So has there been a time where you have really not believed in something and the client was just so adamant that it was right? And
Yes, I mean, there's also been times when I've been at like a place. So like I'll tell you like once when I was a creative at a place that didn't really want me to be me. They
mm-hmm.
wanted me to be what they thought a creative leader should be.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't want me to tell stories about my family. They didn't want me to post anything on social as a mom. Like, didn't want me to really kind of be they had this thing and it was really toxic for me for like 2 years. So that was like probably one of the hardest times to like not be natural to do it. And so that was like a weird tension. Um just going back to like,
Yeah.
when you can't be, I don't know how to like, I do my best work
When you're you.
when I'm you.
Yeah.
And so that was not the place I did the best work. And I've never had a client that was like, you must do this. And I
Mm-hmm.
hated it.
Mm-hmm.
But there will always be little things. Like, there was one client who we had a story with a athlete, and I won't say who. And like the athlete's parent had died. And the client was like, we should do their dad in a hologram. And I'm like, absolutely not.
Not.
I can't do that. Like, that was one of the most awkward. I was like, there is nothing good that will come of that. Like, so that was like a big debate for
Yeah.
a long time. We did not do it, but like sometimes there's like a thing.
Well, how many times, how or do you see this ratcheting up more where you've got clients leaning more, though, on algorithms and pre-checking what they think will be the success of something based on
That
new
yes,
research
except
tools?
that's always happened. So
Yeah.
it's just new research tools, but those
Because you always had the focus group
you always have
before.
focus groups, and
Right.
also, like, you just need one person in that focus group. There was always qualitative and quantitative, and they would
Yeah.
always test.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in, like, testing is learning and learning is a gift. Like,
Mhm.
what are we gonna learn? It doesn't mean we have to act on it.
Right.
Are
Right.
people confused? I don't want them confused.
Yeah.
That's my job to make sure we like, so I don't like prescriptive. That's the one thing I always try to like teach with clients about a good partnership. Don't tell me how to fix it.
Mhm.
Tell me what problem you're having.
Mhm.
Like sometimes they're going too edgy. I'm like, you're not the consumer though.
Yeah.
So like it's not your, like so there's a little bit of like I don't love when it's like make this, that, do that. And
Mhm.
so I try to explain like give us the problem. What problem is there not enough branding in here? Is it
Yeah.
too funny? Is it like what is the problem? And let us take that on and come back. And that's how I feel like we've had more trust because they feel heard. And so when testing comes back and they're like, sometimes testing can work to my advantage. I just had it. Like there was a client on a film that really wanted something. And I said, let's test both. Let's see.
Mhm.
And our way tested better. And so it was a conversation. It had to do with music. But I
Yeah.
felt like that was a big piece of it. And so sometimes I don't mind it. The algorithm thing, that goes like nobody wants to put wallpaper of crap
Mhm.
in the world. And
Mhm.
so at the core, like I try to teach, like you need an idea. At
So, well, so okay. So now, at the ripe old age that you are now,
55, not afraid
55.
to,
Yeah,
yeah,
55.
55.
Um, problem solver, resilient storyteller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are like your
Poker players in there too, but yeah,
key.
yeah, okay.
Well, and probably that means all
All those
three,
things.
right?
Yeah,
It's all
yeah,
those things. So, when do you think that you knew that those were your three core assets? Because when you talk about, like, I'm not afraid if, like, we don't want Ogilvy to go under, we love Ogilvy advertising, but like, if it went under, you're not losing your title, your ad background. You still are a problem solver who's
yeah.
resilient and a great storyteller. So that applies to
A lot of
so
jobs,
many
anything.
different
If
jobs, right?
advertising as a thing went away, yeah.
So, like, do you think that you spent a lot of time it's kind of subliminally knowing that those were your skill sets and then you kind of figure it out more and then you start to lean in hard on it? Or did I just explain it to you for the
No, you
first
explained it to
time?
me better. No, I don't. I mean, I think
I'm joking about that, but
probably in the last definitely last 5 to 10 years. I know my superpowers. I always try to find people's superpowers
Mhm.
and go like, wow, that person is so great at coming up with weird stuff I would never come up with.
Yep,
Like they think I don't want a bunch of me's around there.
right. Never
Um,
hire yourself.
never hire
Amex was so
yourself.
big
Like
about
I
that.
so or someone's superpower might be like so craft, like but they're a terrible leader.
Yep.
Like I feel like you need to surround yourselves with a lot. And so as an example, I had somebody who reports into me like desperate to be a CCO. I
Mhm.
have CCOs that report into me, but like I
Chief
think a lot
creative
of
officer?
chief creative
Mhm.
officer, sorry. And so there's like below a chief creative officer is like an executive creative
Yep.
director. It's like titles. But a chief creative officer, like you run the office. You're dealing with HR, you're dealing with raises, you're dealing with
And they
people's
want
personal,
that?
but everybody thinks that you make the work better.
Yeah.
That's your I thought that at first when I finally became a CCO. I mean, I knew that you had to understand how the business works, but you really think your job is like Don Draper just making the work
Right.
better. That is part of the job. You have to have vision and give clear direction. But I really did not love my first 6 months as a
Sure.
CCO. I was like, I remember calling my old CCO, who's one of my mentors. I'm like, you didn't tell me how many hours I'm at with the HR team and
Yes.
problems, and I'm an empath and hearing someone's like partner died or whatever. And so I make sure now when someone's like, people want titles and they want to be advanced. And he's like, I want to be a CCO. And I'm like, no, you do not.
Yep.
You don't. You will hate it. I go, you want to grow, but let me tell you what, I don't think you're going to love it. And
Mhm.
like, recently I debated, not debated, but was asking more about the CEO side because I am business, and like my CEO partner was like, "Let me give you a day in the
Mhm.
life to see if you would like it or if it would suck out all your creativity
Mhm.
because I'm worried it would take out your magic." So there's interesting, so I know my superpowers.
Yep.
Um and I think it was probably as I became a CCO, like I was not a great CCO. Not that I'm so great now, but I definitely was not good in the beginning. Like I didn't understand that it's really about getting rid of the barriers that get in the way of people being creative
Yeah.
sometimes, or like setting up clients to trust us so that they can sell their beautiful ideas. And so I'm very good with client relationships. Like those things, I think as a CCO, right? Probably right before, I knew I was good at those things. And so I focus on them. I'm not great at some things that other people are great, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah,
Like,
I had just written a Substack recently. I can't remember now exactly what it was about, but I think I think there's nothing wrong with sucking at certain
yeah,
things, and then acknowledging it, because I think there's so much around, like, "Oh, you're gonna give reviews, that you've got your strengths and your opportunities," and I'm like, Sometimes they're just fucking
yeah.
weaknesses,
And I'm
and
like,
it's
yeah,
okay."
totally.
Like,
There's like a lot of people that, especially creatives, I think, at least in advertising, nobody teaches you how to be a leader or manager. And it's not why you go into the business.
yeah,
You go in the business to be a maker. And then suddenly you're managing people and managing finance and like that is not, versus other jobs, you kind of just keep doing more of it. Creative's job, the more senior you get in advertising, sometimes the further away
the
you
further
get
you
from
get
why
from
you
it.
got in.
Yeah,
So my husband never wanted that. So he's now retired, but like he's a golfer. But he never wanted to be higher than
yeah.
a maker. And he told every boss, like, I don't want it. I'm never going to ask for it. I don't like managing people. I don't want to do the client relationships. I will work on any brief you give me, and I want to be a maker.
Wait, can I ask you to
Yeah.
tell your husband's story? I love what his famous.
His famous. My husband is, it's the claim to fame. He's the creative behind What's Up.
Is that crazy?
So I'm very proud of that. It's like I think one of the best campaigns of all time. And what's up? Funny story about that. It was when I was pregnant with my daughter, so I'll always know how old that campaign was.
Yeah.
And he worked on Budweiser and Bud Light, and it was like an era of catchphrases. Like they were like, "I love you, man. You're not getting," like there were like Bud was always chasing catchphrases,
Yeah.
and Bud Light, it was great. And he, we weren't babies in the business, but like still like not the senior leaders. And he was working on Bud, which was like, and Budweiser, Super Bowl, like so
Made
competitive, but like the greatest in that time. It was one of the greatest pieces of business. They made a lot. They were all over, commercials were
Yeah.
king and they were doing everything. And he came home and he's like, I think I think we just sold like the next big catchphrase. He's like, everybody's talking about it at the agency. I'm like, tell me, this is so exciting. Tell me. And he's like, no, like really, I think everybody thinks it's gonna be the next one. I'm like, what is it? And he's like, it's all these guys. And he tells me the story and I look at him, I go, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'll never forget that. I'm like, that is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. And he's like, "No, no, no, it's really good." I'm like, "No, it's really not." But they had a student film. So they
Uh-huh.
found a student film and then he played the student film on a VHS, like old school. And it was these guys that did it for NY, like they did it and they contacted those guys and
Yep.
said, "Would you do the exact same thing, but with a bud and change it?" And the guys did it. And then it became a whole campaign. But it was, they found a piece of content. It was before that was a thing.
Yes.
They would have never sold it if they didn't have that. Because even I was like,
No.
what? A bunch of people are going to stick their tongue out and be like, what's that? Like, it was so bizarre. But I have,
And that still, like,
it still
20
is.
years later
I
or
mean, it's still
whatever.
in every now and then it's still in a TV show. I
Yeah.
love it, or somebody still like references it.
Oh, so
Yeah,
iconic.
so good. So that's
Wow.
my husband.
Oh.
Good stuff.
Well, do you have any questions or anything that
I do.
Yes.
So you studied creative writing and
Yes.
literature. I'm wondering, having gotten to where you are now, what your writing was like then, and if there were any specific writers that were like particularly compelling. How did that take shape?
So I wrote my first book when I was 12 years old, and it was about a girl at overnight camp who was teased by the mean girls. And that was like an experience that happened to me. I just changed all the names. So I wrote from what I knew. And my writing almost always was that. Like in college, like I was so close to my grandma and she had died, and I would write about like, oh, the grandma could visit and still see. Like I would write those things, and my favorite things to read even now are dysfunctional memoirs. I don't think it's an actual genre, memoirs is, but I love dysfunctional memoirs. I have for a
Glass
long time.
Castle,
Glass
Running with
Castle,
Scissors, like,
Educated, Running with
yeah.
Scissors. And I think it's because it makes me feel a little bit more normal, like, oh, I'm not the only one who had this crazy thing. And a memoir, different from a biography, is like you have enough reflection. So when I'm reading it and it's awful, I know they're okay because they're able to write about it.
Well, no,
So it's not like a biography that someone, like, if they're able to write it and tell it, they made it to
they
the
give
other
the other side.
side. And so that's definitely has shaped what I read, what I want to write, the type of, if I ever did a movie or a series, like I would want it based, even though you would change characters or do things. So definitely those are the writers. But then I, will love a crazy Wes Anderson or Mike White or like things like that. But I read like crazy. I read a book a week.
Well, I think it's interesting because before we started running here with the video, we were talking about Catherine O'Hara, and you were saying how you would want to be thought of in the way that people
Yeah.
spoke about her, right? Like, and then I think the other person that we just touched on, but because you said he's like your quote to live by, but Steve Martin
Yeah.
is the same thing too. Like, so I think it's like these people that have done these things and made it through, but that are also just really good people at their core,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
mean, Born Standing, I don't know if you've read his memoir, like Crazy Life, right? So
It
good
just gives,
people
yes.
who somehow found good in other people despite crazy. Yeah, I think that's probably what, but the dysfunctional memoir is funny. I
Yeah.
think it's like my non-therapy, even though I do have a therapist. I think that's my, like, they made it. And I also just love people. I mean, it's also part of advertising. Like, I really love, everyone has an interesting story, and I really love to know people's backgrounds. That's why I love working with our strategists who get to insights about human behavior
Yeah.
that I can apply to something. And so the books I like tend to be about, even if it's not a memoir, about somebody and people. And I think people who are interested in people are interesting people.
I like that.
So,
I have another question.
Yeah.
May I can ask you something? Do you have any life advices for us, or like something you would give us on our ways? Because I mean, I'm in my 20s right now, in the beginning of my 20s, and I'm still figuring things out. And I think it's quite interesting, and also like your story really touches me, and that's why I really want to learn from you. And yeah, maybe you have some things you could give us.
I'll give one is the Steve Martin, like be so good. And it doesn't mean like be great or else. I think it just says like be proud of the work you do. Like, like do something whenever I brief a team or anything, I'm like, do something you would love to make. I say ideas that haunt you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you have that. Like, I must get that in the world. Like, I'm sure you have something you're like, I have to make that or something.
I think it's, yeah, I think it's, following what you'll be very proud of, but I also think it's treating everything with the same level of
Yeah.
pride,
Yeah.
and that's something I'm sure, I don't know, I see it with people who make it or people who don't. It's very selective where they will put pride into something. And I was a student who I made A's and I made D's. Like it was clear where I had my focus, right? So I was not a straight A student. I didn't apply obsessive energy to everything to get an A, but the things that I still do though, I still took pride in them. I
Yeah.
just, maybe I wasn't that good. I wasn't great at math or, different thing, home economics. But I think just, when you're doing something in the office or in that first career opportunity, really just mustering up, putting yourself into something and
Yeah,
even
soaking it
hiding is
in,
key.
doing things you love. Like, I'm happier when I love it. Doesn't matter how many hours I'm working or how hard it is. If you love it, it doesn't really feel like like I work long hours and it is work and it is hard, but like I don't mind. It's that whole like blur. Like I will think about things 24/7 because I really do like it. It feeds my soul.
But I can tell you with 100% assurance that everything that you're doing, if you jump into it, it may not mean something that day, that
Oh yeah,
year.
but you'll collect it.
You collect it, and they are these like dots that come together to form a bigger picture. Like they really do. And every now and then I'm like, oh, that dot just appeared. I forgot about it.
Little
I didn't
glimmers,
know I would use
little
that.
glimmers. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know that you're going to use something 20 years later or that it will form who you are today.
Yeah, curiosity and resiliency. I think curiosity, those two things will get you everywhere. Like be interested and curious and ask questions and be resilient when you get knocked on your ass. Cause like you will, like everybody does. I got laid off. I tell that story. Like I was really successful and got laid off. Like it can happen to anyone at any moment.
And problem solving too is it really requires digging and understanding the multiple sides of
Yeah.
things. And I think probably for someone in a younger generation right now, when you have an algorithm that can be so protective of you and maybe giving you what you want to hear, when you're solving problems, you hear so many things that you don't want to hear. You have to seek out the things that you don't want to hear because you have to put it all together to solve a problem. So, really giving yourself permission to look at things that you fully disagree with, ask questions, think about things from all angles. I think right now that is going to be a super skill that a younger person will have because I think that it's probably at most threat of anything right
Right. Cause
now.
you could type and try to get an answer.
Or you just hear one side.
Yeah. Well, it's like on an algorithm of a streaming is based on what you're watching.
Yep.
So you're not gonna
Challenge. You're not going to
challenge.
know to
Yeah.
type in the strange thing. Um, Also, I think you would agree with me. Talk to strangers. Just it's like
Yeah.
some of the craziest conversations I've
Always.
had meeting people by just being like, you know what, I'm just going to put down the phone and make eye contact.
My daughter between jobs worked at Bon, and I was like, those are all gonna be characters in your scripts. Like everyone who comes in, you got to take something from them so you can turn them into a character in your script. Like, don't think you're just I mean, one, you're sales and that's good, but like, you know, she's working on a show, but it is like people. You learn about things like it's like working with the German in the beginning. Like everyone has a different point of view. I agree.
You know what I started watching again last night?
What?
Jury Duty. Remember?
It was so good. It was
So
good.
good.
Have you seen the trailer for the new one?
No.
Oh my, that's a totally different story. It's gonna be
Oh my
so
God.
good. Jury
Jury
Duty
Duty
was so good.
you talk about like
Talk about a
characters.
good person though. Like,
Oh
weren't
my
you
God.
stressed for him? Like, oh my God.
Who, and you wonder, like, they had no idea the guy was going to turn out to be this like mensch who was,
No,
he was the nicest,
I mean, and they really threw everything.
everything at him.
Yeah, there's
The
a
guy
trailer out
sucking the
for the new
food
one.
out of
I
his
mean, it
like,
was like, I should watch it again. 'Cause I just remember
I forgot how good the characters,
so
the
good.
woman with the red hair who's,
I don't remember it. I just remember going like, this poor guy. I mean,
watch it
they
again.
threw everything.
Best, so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me.
You're like, Matt's like, I was telling Amy to thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, say thank you for being on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.